All right, welcome to the What Did I Miss podcast with Dennis Styles. On this show, I'll be covering all the stuff not on my YouTube channel at DS2 Smooth, from movies and game reviews to movie and gaming news to anime, comic books, and honestly anything else I feel like yapping about. All right, per usual, now that the stock intro's out the way, this week we got some good news this week, honestly, and I've just been before I get into like the little summary of the news of the week, I just been trying to because last week's show was dead ass 3 hours long, like 3.5 hours long. And honestly, I don't really care about the length. And because if these are honestly, I don't, these podcasts are kind of like for my outlet. So it's like if people listen to 3.5 hours, cool. If not, also cool. So I honestly don't care about the length, but just editing wise and getting this out on time, I do want to kind of keep it shorter. With that being said, um I just been trying to be mindful what type of news I put in because I was like, okay, why is the show so long? And I realized I do add like news that's what am I trying to say? Is anecdotal. Is that the right word? Or it's like people like talking in interviews and they'll say something I think is interesting, but it's not necessarily like, oh, a new trailer or a new release date or a casting news or something like that. So I'm gonna try to keep it like with news. And if it's like a slower week, then I'll just add that stuff in. But just for, and I'll keep that type of smaller news and just not, damn, I just hit my mic, just not as much, uh just so yeah, so this week we got some great casting for Superman Legacy and the honestly the DCU in general. And I was saying last week that DCU news is like my favorite news just because I'm just so excited for the universe and where it's going, or not even where it's going because it hasn't really started yet, but just I'm really confident in the people that are involved. So optimistic about its future. But we have surprisingly a good amount of Star Wars news. There was some big stuff over on that side with Dave Filoni being promoted to like oversee all the Star Wars movies and stuff. Dave, I'll get into it, but that's pretty interesting. And then some Star Wars like movies, some news maybe. There's also a couple surprise movie announcements from live action Naruto, which I guess has been in the works. Apparently, I just didn't know that, so this is my first time hearing about it. And then also a Karate Kid movie starring Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio, the OG Karate Kid. I hope I said his name right. But yeah, I'll get into that because I like the Karate Kid, the one with Jaden Smith. But I'll get into it. There's some other worthwhile new movie news and gaming news, but feel free to use the time codes in the description to jump around to whatever part of the podcast you like, any piece of news, or to the main topic, or to jump to the main topic, which is this week talking about Invincible season 2. Damn, I fumbled that. But as the mid-season break has come up, we'll get into that and the thoughts and everything. Yeah, I'm just really liking it. But I wanted to start this new thing though. Not new thing. I mean, I guess, but I just wanted to do a what did I miss section because this is the what did I miss podcast, and I miss stuff all the time. So I just want to go over what I missed last week that I just whatever we were talking about last week, and just go over what I forgot to say about it. But this week it's it was a bad explanation because I kind of just thought about this idea. So, but basically, last week I was reviewing Spider-Man 2, and there's gonna be I'll get into it. So I didn't really talk about the Spider-Man 2 suits, all the suits in the game. I really liked them. I thought there was a lot of old ones coming back, which I didn't mind, but I felt like took away from getting a lot some new ones in there. But I really like the ones that came back, so it's like it's like kind of a nothing complaint. But I do really like the suits they added. I think my favorite was Superior Spider-Man. I just love that suit so much. So that's what I was rocking most of my playthrough. Go check out, if you want to watch my playthrough, go check out my second channel at DS2 Smooth Extended. I have my whole Spider-Man playthrough. I'm done with the game, but I just to put the footage up there. I'm like on episode 10. They're like an hour and a half long, 2 hours at most. So go check that out if you want to see me play through Spider-Man. The next game I'll most likely be playing on there is Cyberpunk. and doing like Phantom Liberty. I'll be doing the whole story, but specifically really want to get into Phantom Liberty because I haven't touched it yet. But I really like the suits in Spider-Man 2. And then I always so this one's a little bit more spoilery, so I'll save this for um after the main topic. So when we get into the weekly watch list, but I didn't really talk about Craven's involvement. But like I said, that's more spoilery, so I'll save that for later. But it'll be time coded, so you could jump around to that. But I think that's pretty much all I missed talking about last week. But yeah, let's just get into the news, my guys. So Superman Legacy casting. So Lex Luthor has been casted, and I like this casting a lot. So let's. Oh wait, what? Okay, the link that I had is broken, but it's Nicholas Hoult. So Nicholas Hoult, he's Beast. He's in a lot of stuff. I don't know how old he is, but I would say, because I'm trying to say, like, I was gonna say, oh, newer generation actors. Like, he's like one of the standouts, but I don't really know like what generation he would be in. But he's just not like super older. That's what I mean. He's let me just look up his age, because I would like categorize him as like in the same ballpark as like some of the younger grades. Like, I don't know, fucking what are some other young actors? And I don't mean like Timothy Chalamet young. I feel like that's my I'm 23, so I feel like that's my generation. But like my parents' age and a little younger than him, like 40s and 50s. He's not even that old. He's like in his 30s. But is that like part of my generation, like 35-year-olds, like 30 to 40? Is that like part of my generation? I don't know. Whatever. But I'm over here trying to like categorize him. But anyways, he's a really good actor. He's in like X-Men, the newer ones like First Class, X-Men Apocalypse, Days of Future Past, which vary in quality, but I think overall they're pretty good. First Class, especially, in Days of Future Past, I like a lot. But he's really good in those movies. He was in The Menu, which I really recommend. If you haven't seen The Menu, kind of just go in there blind like I did. I didn't know anything about it. So it's really good. It's really well made. Really good performances. It has Anya Taylor-Joy, which I'll be talking about her later, a little later as well. But it's a really good movie, so go check that out. He's really good in that. But anyway, so Nicholas Hoult, what I want you to say. So he went for the part of Superman and lost to David Cornsweet. I think that's who got casted in Superman Legacy. So right there, and then he also went for the role of Bruce Wayne in Matt Reeves' The Batman, where Robert Pattinson, that's for that movie, and he lost to that. So you have this casting for Lex Luthor, who went for Batman and Superman and lost it out. And then he ends up playing Lex Luthor. So it's just like a funny, what am I trying to say? Real world thing where it's like he probably isn't mad in real life, but it's like you already have this, you lost out on Superman and you play his rival. So it's just like it's a nice start already. That can already, what am I trying to say? Because I don't want to say he's mad in real life that he didn't get Superman, but it's a natural rivalry already, which is cool. And he's a really good actor, so I'm really excited for this casting. I think he was up in the running, and I think it was like, I think Bill Skarsgård and some other people, but Nicholas Hoult, he was one of my like top picks for that in that running of names. But yeah, so I'm super excited that Nicholas Hoult is in the DCU and he's playing Lex Luthor. Again, just you're getting these amazing actors to be on these projects so far, and the casting's super solid, and there seems to be an emphasis on wanting the writing to be strong, and that's honestly like where my biggest thing is, the writing, because I think I said in one of my YouTube videos, honestly, I think I said it on here, but it was for sure one of my YouTube videos where CGI special effects, those could be, if the writing is 100, for me, if the writing is like 100% solid, it's a nice tight script, it's competent, like plot, good pacing, and the character writing's great, dialogue feels nice and natural and stuff. If that is up to snuff and good quality, I can be more forgiving on maybe a smaller, more this doesn't necessarily speak to quality, but a smaller scale, tone down more story, or even if it's bigger scale and the CGI is not as great. If the writing is solid, bro, I am way more like lenient on, you know, my not this really, but my enjoyment and stuff. Like that doesn't mean as much as writing. So it seems to be the emphasis on writing for the DCU, which is great. But so we have Sarah Sampio as cast as Eve Teschmeyer for Superman Legacy. I don't know this character. I don't know this actress, and I don't know this character. I'm sure she's great, the actress, but I'm gonna look up Eve Teschmeyer. This is, I feel like, even by nerd standards, this is kind of a deep cut character. Maybe I've never heard about her before, like ever. And I'm not saying like I know fucking everything about DC, but I've consumed a pretty large amount. Like I don't even think maybe she was in some of the like animated stuff. What happened to Eve Teschmeyer? Is she like missing? Okay, well, there's a picture of her. Oh, so she was in the Arrowverse somewhere. So I feel like this is low-key a deep cut character. I could be wrong about this. But just not super well known in the Superman mythos. Because from what I was seeing on Twitter, I guess she is like a Superman character. But like I said, she was just on Arrowverse. But that doesn't mean anything. They could, use whatever character for what. But yeah, so that's cool. And so someone asked, so he's pretty active on Threads, James Gunn. I've been over this a couple times now, but he's the head of the DCU. So the MCU, you have Kevin Feige. He like kind of oversees all the Marvel projects and kind of the general storyline where everything is headed, like how everything was Infinity War last phase and it led to Thanos. He kind of oversees that in the general direction. And that's what James Gunn is doing for the DC side of things. But so someone asked them, I'm sorry, they said to James Gunn, I'm sorry if this was answered before, but basically, is there a general tone of movies under DCU now? Like how the Snyderverse was more of a, I think, darker tone. It wasn't like all the movies because Aquaman was pretty, but it was like the general kind of like tone for the main stuff. And so James Gunn's response was, there would not be a general tone, just as there is not a general tone in the great comic series. It will shift from project to project, filmmaker to filmmaker, which I liked to hear a lot. I just was saying earlier how I didn't want to like add in just people saying stuff, but this like feeds into the greater DCU. But we kind of knew this, and I felt like this. He wouldn't have a strict tone on the tone of the DCU. And this is the best case scenario because, just let people create what they create. And when it all meshes together, it'll be fresh. And you won't get, the thing with Marvel, those movies generally all feel the same. And not like a bad way, because unless you don't like the formula, then it is bad. But I don't mind the formula when it's done correctly. It's just when it's done, and that statement is starting to be untrue as we're getting all these projects. But for the most part, the Marvel formula is, I enjoy it. So, but all those movies have like a general feel to them, and they don't really have their own personality. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. They don't really have their own personality. And if we just, let's say like something like, you get something at the quality and like the vision and style of the Raimi movies, Spider-Man movies, and then you get something like Guardians of the Galaxy. And like let's just say those were in those same universe, but it's two superhero projects and they have different tones and different styles and they have different personalities to them and they feel distinct. But I just hope they go kind of like that route and just a plethora of different things. Because just mixing it up, make it stay fresh. But so I don't really care. So this next piece of news, I don't really care about this too much. Like, number wise, so Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, Aquaman 2, is long range tracking to open up to 32 million to 42 million domestically, and that is pretty bad. I think the first movie made like $1 billion. I don't know what are those like first day numbers or first weekend numbers, because if those are first weekend numbers, that's pretty bad. If those were like opening day numbers, I think that's pretty solid. Maybe not super solid for a movie that the last movie hit a billion. But anyway, I brought this up because just the DC brand is just performing so poorly right now. And with Marvel, I'm trying to think like as I'm speaking, because has there any been like like quality wise aside, which the quality has been pretty shoddy. You know, you got like Blue Beetle and you have the Suicide Squad and stuff, but has there been like a box office success for DC? Like just not even just skimping by, but like a smash success. With Marvel, yeah, the quality's going down, but you have like even Thor Love and Thunder made money, even Guardians of the Galaxy almost hit a billion. Like you have these like still success, even though the quality, and I'm not saying the monetary success really. What's it called? Sorry, I was moving my mic. I thought I unplugged it. I got like super scared for a second. The monetary success. I'm not saying that like it like has any really real value, but I'm saying the monetary side of thing is what kind of lets these projects happen. Like if they're not making money, they're not gonna let you make a whole cinematic universe. So basically, is the the old DC movies performing so poorly? Is that gonna have an effect on James Gunn's universe going forward? I think for now he's safe because of it's to be proven. But if Superman Legacy, bro, doesn't, and I'm not even saying it has to make a billion, but if it doesn't, if it's not a box office success, and I'm not talking about just making like barely any profit or like a hundred, even 100 million in profit. If it's not at least like, let's say the budget is 250 million, you gotta double to account. 250 million is hella high. Let's say 200 million. You gotta double to account for marketing. That's 400 million. So it needs to make 400 plus to be a success. If it doesn't make at least like 600 million out of like compared to that 400 million, I don't think it's looking sticky for James Gunn. I just think Superman Legacy has to do really well just to prove that the DCU brand can survive and it's not just we're just getting Batman and Joker movies forever. So yeah, right now I think it's fine, but if Superman Legacy doesn't do good, it's looking sticky icky for the DCU, which I would be very sad about because I want to like I like DC. I want to see these stories be able to be told on the big screen and people's creative visions being translated to these characters and put on screen. Like I want to see that. So it would be sad if this doesn't do well and really be able to stretch its wings and fly. That was kind of that fucking I don't know why stretch its wings and fly. What the fuck? But anyways, so Nicolas Cage, he appeared in The Flash and he was this CGI monstrosity. He looked like a plastic man. And there's a bunch of bad faith cameos in The Flash, like resurrecting dead actors that without really their family. Oh, I don't think one of them didn't even have like any surviving family. So it was like, it was just in bad faith. And Adam West Batman from like, I don't even know, the like early fucking 1960s, 70s. I don't know. Adam West Batman, he like appeared as a cameo and he didn't have any ears. And so it was like very just slapstick, really just throw it in your face CGI cameos. It was just super bad looking. But people were saying like, was Nicolas Cage like, was he a CGI? Did he even come in and film that? Was he just CGI the whole time? But Nicolas Cage has come out like while that movie was like around that time that movie came out. I was like, yeah, I went in and I filmed stuff, but it wasn't really clear what he like filmed. But he's come out and said that what was on screen is not what he filmed. And so he was like, I love Andy and Barbara Machete, but he's like, that's not what I was told to do on set. And it's just, in the conversation of like AI and everything, he's like, I don't know if the AI was used, but like I just said, that's not what I did. And it's just like you have him there and you didn't choose to use him. Like that doesn't make sense. You just chose to make these digital monstrosities. And Andy Machete, and this kind of is worrisome a little bit. I don't know where Andy Machete falls in this and his decision making on this, but Andy Machete, he's doing so in the new DCU, the James Gunn like universe and stuff. He is directing for now Batman Brave and the Bold, and that's going to be dealing with Batman and his son Damian Wayne, which I am very excited for. Andy Machete, he did the It movie, so I think he can direct kids really well. the writing is just the script. Screen is that what it's called? Screenplay or whatever. The script just has to be super solid. So they're just gonna gotta get a need a good writer, and I think the movie would be good. But this is very worrying from um Andy Machete, I guess. I just really want that Batman movie to be really good. So on to the Star Wars news. So Dave Filoni has become chief creative officer of Lucasfilm. He will now work more directly with Kathleen Kennedy to oversee the next generation of Star Wars shows and movies. So if you don't know, so basically Star Wars just got their Kevin Feige, James Gunn, I guess. So this is interesting. Like, you got these big franchises. You got these guys who are passionate about the source material, spearheading. Sorry, these big franchises, and it's just interesting to see where they take them. And so if you don't know who Dave Filoni is, he worked on Rebels, Star Wars Rebels as an animated show. So there's the Clone Wars and Rebels. Rebels was, I think, started out, they both are kind of like kid friendly starts. I didn't watch Rebels. I kind of watched the highlights just to get the gist, because there's some big developments. Not, I wouldn't say, I guess big, that play into the stuff that's going on with the shows right now. So just watched the key moments of Rebels. But and then he also did he make Ahsoka? I don't know. I think he made Ahsoka, but I think he made Ahsoka. Um, he worked on like the Mandalorian and stuff. Boba Fett and Obi-Wan, and he's done a lot of the Disney Plus. He's had a hand in a lot of the Disney Plus stuff. But before he got this like chief role, creative role, he wasn't as involved in the beginning stages. You saw them like when they're kind of already a good ways in of being made, and then he gave his input and whatnot. So, but now he's way more involved in the infancy stage of these development ideas and everything, and so he has a lot more control. And he said he's not there to tell people how to make their movie and what to make or whatever, but just more give them the tools to like execute their idea to the fullest, that it could be in the Star Wars universe. And so that's cool. And the problem with this that people kind of don't like, and I'll get to what I feel about it, that people have with Dave Filoni. They say like he's kind of really remembers berries, like really though, like he's behind of like bringing OG Luke back, not OG Luke, but Luke Skywalker back in that like digital face and everything. And he's right now he's like making a movie with all like the Disney Plus characters, probably like Boba Fett, Ahsoka, Mandalorian, and all those people in the Ahsoka show, and all coming together and going against Thrawn. And people are kind of like lukewarm on that. And I mean, some people are very super excited, and it's just you just have like kind of like two kinds of Star Wars right now. You have Andor Star Wars, and then you have the Disney Plus. I mean, it's still Disney Plus, but you have like Mandalorian season 3, Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan. You know, depending who you talk to, Ahsoka. Just these low quality, just bad writing, and just throw these cameo characters in your face. Have the best episodes of the Boba Fett show not even having to deal with Boba Fett, making Boba Fett a fucking crime lord who doesn't like to do crime, so he's just basically a mayor of a city, from a badass bounty hunter, which we would want him to be. You get this. Let me go to. I guess that was my projection of the newer shows, and I don't dislike them all. I feel like Mandalorian season 1 and season 2 are really good. Obi-Wan has its moments. I'm not done with Ahsoka yet. I'm on episode like 5. That's fine. All this stuff is just very fine. And then you have like Andor, which is like a cut above everything. It's just like in a different league. And so people are like, are we gonna like get less of that Andor quality? Which Andor was, I think, turned out to be pretty expensive. So are we gonna get more of this other subpar quality? Or are we gonna try to still get these high level projects? And that's where my worrying is. It's just, I don't want to watch stuff that's just fine. Like, I want to be enamored. I want to be captivated. I want to be locked in. I'm just like thinking about how I felt watching Andor, and I did feel this way with a little bit of Obi-Wan in the early days. Just seeing and I guess there's like it's that nostalgia. Without that nostalgia, would I even care about Obi-Wan? But like seeing Anakin and Vader, like just the way they played that, and like how you have Vader's helmet smashed, and it's Anakin's voice. You hear Anakin's voice, and then Vader's cuts in, and it's this muddled mess together, and just stuff like that. Seeing Obi-Wan struggle with PTSD and with the Clone Wars and failing Anakin, like that's cool. And but it's like that's kind of like pulls on nostalgia, and Andor kind of really didn't pull on a little bit. You get some, going back to Coruscant and stuff, but for the most part, that was just really strong writing that made me really care about the characters and made me care about a character that's fated to die and just his journey. And to write something about a character, and just me praising fucking Andor, but to write something compelling about a character that die, it's hard. You have to make it so what they're fighting for or whatever is larger than them, and picking the rebellion is something that is smart to do with that character. And that's where I just don't want that quality to go away, because I really like Andor, and this newer stuff is just really not as hitting as much. But that's to say, though, with the MCU, since the Marvel and Star Wars are both under Disney, the with Marvel's Disney Plus shows, and how I was talking about like these couple weeks, just the whole shakeup of shows and how they're writing them, how they're trying to get back to more traditional TV writing to make the scripts a lot more stronger and stuff, and so you don't get this rush CGI and whatnot. They could be also applying that type of stuff to the Star Wars shows, so maybe we'll get better quality Star Wars shows. But overall, though, where I see the light in this is just an overall vision. That's the thing with the sequel trilogy. I think they're well made. The visuals look great. I wasn't like the scripts. I mean, are fine, but just they're well made movies, and but they have no direction to them. They were literally just making making stuff up as they went along each movie, and that's what like Marvel does kind of, but those are like our sprawling multiple movies. This is a set trilogy, and you did not have a plan for this set trilogy before you started making it. You didn't have a beginning and end. You could fill out the middle, but you would at least have left the starting point and end point or some shit. But like you didn't, and it was just, and these were the legacy characters. You're dealing with Han, Luke, Leia, like, and you just didn't have a Chewie. Like, you didn't have a plan for them. Like, what's going on? So that's what's frustrated me the most about the sequel trilogy. And at least Dave seems to have and want to has a general direction where he wants to take this. So I'm excited about that aspect of it. But me personally, I just want I'm tired. Let's get away from the Skywalker stuff. Let's just go super in the future or super in the past. I know Star Wars galaxy long time ago, far away, whatever. But you know what I mean. Super in the future of the Skywalker stuff, or super in the past of it. Let's see some Mandalorians versus some Jedi in those, the ancient times, or let's see, what's is the future of Star Wars explored like way like after the Skywalker saga, and like the Legends stuff, is that explored at all? I don't know, but yeah, and so with Dave on, Chief or whatever, he says he started writing an outline for Ahsoka season 2. That's cool. I need to finish the first season. Like I said, I'm not hating it, but it's just fine. Like, I just want better than fine. And then Daisy Ridley, she plays Rey in the sequel trilogy. She says that her new Star Wars movie is not what she expected, but she's very excited. I think there was rumors a while ago there's going to be a Star Wars movie with Rey, with her starting a new Jedi school or something, which is fine. I don't dislike Rey as a character. But there's just no direction for her, and I just feel like she was just flip flopped around. And I don't care what anyone says. Her at the end of Rise of Skywalker taking the name Skywalker is stupid, and it's just like she barely knew them niggas, and then oh my god, like it would have been hit so much harder if she took the name Palpatine and made it good, because the Skywalkers and Palpatines have like been at war pretty much. Like the Palpatine like set the shit in motion for the Skywalkers to be on this terrible path. Not terrible. Like after Anakin, it's pretty light, but he's the one that fucked the Skywalker name, and so it's if she would have accepted and like, okay, I'm accept the name Palpatine and really use it as a name for good when it's been known throughout all of this history of Star Wars as a name that is synonym, where it's basically it's a name already associated with bad, and so you know it would have been cool to her accept that and really turn that to a name for good. I hope that makes sense. Sorry, I was getting a text message, so I was like losing my train of thought. I don't know. It just felt super forced to be named Skywalker. I just don't like that at all. And that's not even like, oh, she can't be a Skywalker. Da da da. It just doesn't work because there's no direction. Yeah. To me, it's like if you like it, you like it. But I just don't really like it. But her new movie, it's fine. I mean, it's not fine. I don't know anything about it, but like I said, I just want to go somewhere else. And you fumble all this shit with Finn and stuff. I just want to leave it. I just want to leave it alone. Like it's dead, bro. You had 3 movies and you fumbled it. So let's move on to some new characters. To be honest, so on to some Marvel news. It's very rumor heavy, so I would take all this news with a heavy grain of salt. But and most of this is from Daniel RPK, which he gets, just take it with a grain of salt. Some of it's from Can We Get Some Toast and My Time to Shine or something. So I'll just take it all with a grain of salt. So there's a rumor that a Sinister Six movie featuring Sony Spider-Man spin-off characters is currently in the works. So a movie, if you don't know who the Sinister Six is, they're just Spider-Man's villains just form up and they form a group to whoop his ass. Like that's honestly pretty much it, to be honest. It's like usually Electro. It has varying members. And so the Sony movies, so you have Venom, and the villains in that universe right now, you have Venom, Morbius, Vulture, maybe if he's maybe Venom, Morbius, Vulture, and then you have Craven coming. Yeah. So you're missing 2. So I think Rhino's in Craven's new movie. I don't know if they're gonna like kill him or whatever, but that could be another one. And then you have you just pull another one. So this is hilarious because at the end of Morbius, I think I talked about this last week for some reason. The Vulture comes in, so he gets teleported. So the Vulture is from the MCU Spider-Man. So this is kind of confusing. So basically, there's 2 Marvel Cinematic Universes right now. You have Sony side, which is like the Venom and shit that I just said, Craven, Morbius, everything. And you have the MCU with Iron Man, Hulk, everyone that we've Endgame, Infinity War, all that. Those are 2 different universes. So the Spider-Man in the MCU right now, his Vulture, which is a villain, got with the not time travel, multiverse shenanigans in No Way Home, somehow got transported to the Sony universe. And at the end of the Morbius movie, at the end credits, he flies and he meets with Morbius in the most terrible scene ever. You could clearly, it sounded like Michael Keaton, who plays the Vulture, recorded his lines in a fucking closet. It just sounds so bad. You could clearly tell he's not there. And he said, I don't know how I got here, but I think it has something to do with Spider-Man. I don't know if you, oh my God, I just like cringed. And it's just like, brother, Spider-Man has not been in any of those Sony movies that I just talked about. So yeah, all those Sony Spider-Man villains, Craven, Morbius, fucking Venom, Spider-Man has yet to show up in any of those movies. So he's just randomly telling Morbius, it has something to do with Spider-Man. But he's like, I think guys like me, we should get together. I think we could do some good. What the what? What do you mean you could do some good? To steal? To like, what good do you speak of, sir? It's just, you have Spider-Man's villains who are supposed to like form this group, cool, this villain posse, Great, great, right? But now the Sony, I have a video on this on my YouTube channel. Go and check that out. The Sony villains, Sony has turned them all into anti-heroes. Like they are basically good guys now. So it's like if they come together and form the Sinister Six, they'll be the nice guy six. Like they're not villains. These guys don't even want to hurt fucking flies. Like I just don't get it. Why are you making a Sinister Six movie, bro? Uh, and I think I don't honestly. I just want to move on. I don't even want to talk about it even anymore. But and me going hard on the Sonyverse, I just think it's so fucking ass. Tom Hardy has come out with a like Instagram image, and he's made a super like long, not super long caption, but he made a caption. He was like praising the cast and crew. He was just talking about it was very fun to work on these movies, and I just want to say it may get lost in translation sometimes, but when I shit on these movies, I'm not like shitting on the people who's making them and aren't creatively like making these overarching story decisions. The cast and crew, like the sound people, I'm glad that they're able to get an opportunity to work on a big budget movie. Whether it's good or whether I like it or not, doesn't matter. Like at the end of the day, I'm not shitting on these people who are just acting in these movies or, just in the end of the day, doing their job, getting their paycheck and fucking off and going home. It's not who I'm like complaining about. So I don't want it to get lost. To get that lost. And it's something that I think you'll probably hear a lot. Just yeah. But on to some more MCU. That was an MCU, I guess. But MCU rumors: Anya Taylor-Joy is reportedly being eyed to play a villain in MCU's Fantastic Four. So this was from Daniel RPK. There's some more casting rumors for Fantastic Four, but let me just get into this really quick. Early in the week, I read. Don't know if this is true or not. This could be complete bullshit. But the Silver Surfer, they were looking to make the Silver Surfer a woman, which I don't really care about gender bent characters, to be honest. Like I don't like if it's like I guess it's a case by case scenario. Like let's say the next Spider-Man movie, Peter Parker was just a girl. Like I would have a problem with. But if it was just the next Spider-Man movie was, I don't know, fucking I guess we are getting that with like Madam Web, like a Spider-Man character, like a Spider Woman. Like I wouldn't care, but it's just like gender bending characters. It's just a case by case situation. Like sometimes I care, sometimes I don't. But this could be linked to that. I don't know. Anya Taylor Joy. I said she was in the menu. I really enjoyed her in that. She's also in other really good things. Queen's Gambit or something, that chess movie. She's a really good actress. But regardless, but me saying the stuff about the Silver Surfer, if she is the Silver Surfer, I would take that. I think she's like just that good where I would be willing to accept that. I don't know. I just want to see that Fantastic Four as a guy. I don't know. Like is that I would say it's that bad. Like, what the fuck? Who gives a shit? Like, if I want to see if the Silver Surfer as a guy, where he is in a comic, like that's not bad. I think it becomes bad if he is a fucking woman. And even if I didn't like it, that's fine. Like, I don't have to like that they turned the Silver Surfer into a woman. I'm kind of creating nothing problems right now, but I'm just saying, like, when I become toxic, not that I would, but fuck, I'm like. Like digging myself in a hole right now. But if that person were to come talks about it, then it's like, what the fuck? But it's fucking the preferences, like whatever. Like he was a guy in the comics. If you are mad, whatever. Fuck. But yeah, if she is the Silver Surfer, I'll be cool with that. But I'm just trying to. I don't really like know a lot of like besides like Doctor Doom, like Mole Man, Galactus. I don't know a whole bunch of Fantastic Four villain. So I don't know who she could be if she is, or if she doesn't have to be a Fantastic Four villain necessarily, because villains cross over all the time, fucking with the heroes. So, but yeah, if she is, I'm glad she is joining the MCU in some capacity. And so Doctor Doom, is it Cillian Murphy? Cillian? I don't know if it's Killian or Cillian, but the man who played Oppenheimer. He's a lot of other good things, but he is I to be a top pick for Doctor Doom, which is great. I really love. I like him as an actor, and I love Doctor Doom, and I feel like he could really bring a nice menacing presence to Doctor Doom. What was I gonna say? Oh, and then also if Doctor Doom will. This is again all rumors, speculation. Take this all with a grain of salt. Everything I said about this Marvel news so far. Doctor Doom will most likely not appear in Matt Shackman's Fantastic Four. He will cameo at best. Okay, so from a Fantastic Four movie, this is how I would want it to go. I don't want Doctor Doom to be the big bad. I want someone a little bit more smaller. I think they said Galactus, so I guess that's not smaller scale, but I don't have a problem with that necessarily either. But I just don't want Doctor. Do I wouldn't even want Galactus to be the first villain. I just really wanted to be smaller scale and really to build to Doctor Doom and really set him as a staple in the universe. And if he was the first villain, Marvel just has a very terrible. Not that I don't think they would kill Doctor Doom, but they just have a very big problem with killing off their villains. Uh, so yeah, Doctor Doom is definitely someone I would want to be built to. But if that if the Kang like dynasty stuff and rumors are true, where they're pivoting away from Kang and they're looking at to go to Doctor Doom, if he's not set up in the Fantastic Four, are we gonna get enough time outside of Fantastic Four and appearances to really properly set him up? And I guess he doesn't need a lot of appearances. Like we get Thanos, like we literally got him like a couple post credit scene, and he came and did his Dougie in Infinity War and Endgame, more so Infinity War. But so you don't necessarily need all that time to develop him. But I just want Doctor Doom to be a overarching presence in the MCU. So hopefully he gets more appearances before his next appearance. I guess if he is the big bad that they're switching to build to. But if not, it's cool that he will not really be in Fantastic Four. And if he is, if he ends and is in, if he does end up being in Fantastic Four more than a cameo, that's fine too. It's just how they handle it, really. But I would like I said, Doctor Doom to be something built to. On to so again more rumors. Spider-Man 4, Shang-Chi 2, Fantastic Four, and Deadpool 3 are all expected to set up the groundwork for Avengers Secret Wars. This is from Daniel as well, RPK. I think it's like Richardson or something. I'm saying RPK, but that's what his Twitter handle is or something. But anyways, this is I don't really like this. If this is true, I really don't like this, to be honest with you. Deadpool 3, I think that was to be expected to lead into like Secret Wars or Kang Dynasty, whatever shit they wanted to do. But Spider-Man 4, that is the most. And then okay, I'll go down the line. So then Fantastic Four, that I can see playing into a big part too, which again I wouldn't want them to be kind of like their own self-contained story. So if it's leading into the big multiversal stuff, again, anything has the potential to be good, but that's not the direction I would want them to go. But hey, it just remains to be seen. But more, what I'm saying is I can see the Fantastic Four being used to that. So I'm not like too fussed about that. And then Shang-Chi 2, I kind of expected where that was going because the end of post-credit scene, the 10 rings are like sending like a distress signal out to deep space or something. So I figured that was gonna have something to do with the overarching narrative of this like phase or whatever. But again, I would want to see as we're going down to Shang-Chi and then to Spider-Man, I would want to see another. I would say that Shang-Chi's like it did kind of go to bigger scale by the end, but a more contained story, and then you have the stuff with his sister and stuff. So if this is all with his sister and her taking over the 10 rings, like I would want the sequel to deal with that, the stuff that is set up in the first movie and not necessarily dealing with stuff that's going to set up another movie. And that's not to say that maybe it is dealing with his sister and she was going to make an appearance and stuff with that. It remains to be seen, but I just don't know, I'm just worried that this overarching multiversal plot is really gonna mess with these more grounded characters. And then you have Spider-Man 4. I think I don't know if I talked about it on here, but I've definitely had ideas for Spider-Man 4, and I wanted, and again, me projecting my own ideas on this. So if they are something different, it could possibly if if it's like that bad, but it's not. If they deliver something different. I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, they didn't do what I did, so I fucking hate this shit. Like, fuck this. No, I'm not gonna feel that way. So, but I wanted Spider-Man 4. It really, oh, and I definitely did talk about this on the podcast. They really are in a space to make Spider-Man super grounded and let him be on his own and um really be in control and of his own story and not having these outside forces necessarily play a part. And I read somewhere that um Sony, the contract, so why that so many like people appear in Spider-Man's MCU movies is that Spider-Man can't appear by himself. Another MCU character has to be in it. So the first Spider-Man movie, you have Iron Man in it and like kind of his mentor. The second one, you have Nick Fury and stuff, and then the third movie, you have Doctor Strange and whatnot. And so it's, I think they have, I didn't know if it was true at the time, but just looking at the track record, that might be true. And so when I said like not influenced by outside influences, I mean like more mentor status. He can cross over. Like I really want to see with Spider-Man 4 with we getting Daredevil in the universe. I really want to see some street level shit with Spider-Man and Daredevil. Maybe something with the Kingpin. And you could still achieve that with, if that contract is true, you could achieve that with, you have him with team up with Daredevil, so you still fulfill that contract. We'll still keeping it street level. But if it's fucking dealing with more multiversal stuff, I'm gonna be kind of pissed. And again, anything has a potential to be good. And after those rose-colored lenses come off of No Way Home, and you really, and I'm 100% guilty of this. I'm not even gonna say like I've been telling you the whole time, you whippersnappers. But no, once you really are past the nostalgia factor and you're past like a couple great scenes, like the apartment scene in Spider-Man No Way Home, like that fight and everything, and then, some of like that end battle and stuff, the movie is not that good. Like the overall pacing is pretty bad. I think like, and this is I'm like about to shit talk No Way Home, but I still like this movie a lot, even though these criticisms have become more aware to me as time has come on, and you get past on nostalgia and everything. But out of the stuff I end up like really enjoying, like into those quality standards, like No Way Home looks like shit. Like it looks super flat and stuff, and the pacing is bad. It literally feels like two different movies smashed together. Like once they, like after that bridge scene and stuff, and you get to Spider-Man dealing with the old villains, like it feels like a way different movie from that first part, and it just doesn't look great. It's just a lot of flaws that I overlooked, and I had probably seen back then, but it's just that nostalgia factor and just hype factor just overpowers that. And where was my point even going? Honestly, I don't know. Oh, fudge. But Spider-Man 4, regardless, it just is in a spot to be very grounded. So if it has to deal with multiversal stuff, then yeah, I'm not really gelling with it. But anything has the potential to be good. But and then speaking of like Shang-Chi 2, it's eyeing at a 2024-2025 production begin date. And why the fuck has Shang-Chi have been missing from the universe for so long? He had a very strong, I don't think I think it definitely made money, but I don't think it did super super well. I think it like kind of just scrape by. But regardless, money doesn't equate to quality. I think that movie is really good. It does have its problems. The third act is a little grayish, and the I think it kind of drags in the middle area. I think it slows down a lot. After that first viewing, that middle section, just not seeing it for the first time, you're kind of engaged with the story and everything. But after that first time, and especially if you weren't engaged with any of the characters during your first viewing, like with the returning characters that come, with Trevor Slattery and stuff, and Wenwu and everything, and dealing with that. If you're not invested in that, then that middle section is very, very boring. And after that, like I said, that initial viewing and knowing all that stuff that transpires, it's kind of hard to watch a little bit. But then it picks back up in the third act. I really like, even though it looks a little gray, like the fight with like Wenwu and stuff, and like that end fight with Shang-Chi and the dragon, just the moves he's pulling and just the finesse he just has. It's really good. And so just Shang-Chi, like 2024, 2025, and let's say it starts in 2024. It's not going to get done until like 2025. So when did the first movie come out? you have like 4 or 5 years between the first movie and this one, and he was like a banger character, and it's just like, bro, and you just putting out this bullshit, focusing on just fucking bullshit. Just put out some Shang-Chi, bro. I want to see some niggas box. I want to see him do karate moves. And what I really like about Shang-Chi is like my dad growing up, he showed me a lot of like those poorly dubbed karate movies, just like old like Bruce Lee movies, stuff like that. And so I really like martial arts is really good. Not saying like I'm a martial arts buff, like I don't know fucking techniques and shit. Like I'm not that serious, but I just like see motherfuckers throw hands with some nice technical like ability, you know? And so everyone in the Marvel universe kind of knows martial arts a little bit, but Shang-Chi like kind of set the bar, and like that's he has like he's really martial arts. Everyone has like this modernized like standard beat 'em up martial arts, but he is really deep in it. Like he's gonna hit you with a monkey claw. He's gonna hit you with a motherfucking a tiger fang or some shit. You feel me? Like he's gonna hit you with the dragon striker. I'm just saying shit, but you know what I mean? Like he's gonna pull that out on you. And so that's what I really like about Shang-Chi. And he's been missing, and I've been wanting to see him. So reportedly Moon Knight and She-Hulk are also getting a season 2. And She-Hulk season 2, or She-Hulk, I like the first season for the most part. It just it just tried to do this thing at the end where it had like this self-aware. It was self-aware throughout the whole show, but by the end it kind of like said, "Oh, we knew what we were doing. We were self-aware and shit on, or we were being purposely bad, just like how like the story was gonna go. Like the story was super basic, super like the way it just developed and stuff. It was super like cliche and everything, which is not necessarily bad, but they were just really falling into those Marvel tropes, and but they weren't, and they were acknowledged at the end. It's like, oh yeah, we meant to do that, but you weren't doing anything clever to subvert that. And that's where my problem comes in. It's like, okay, yeah, you can make fun of, Marvel's formula and say it's stale and basic, but you just do that formula for the whole show. So it was like, okay, this is stale and basic. Like you just didn't like, you didn't try to, and I guess they did a little bit. It just didn't translate to me. Like they didn't try to, oh, they did. Like there would be moments where he'll be like, oh, you like Jennifer Walters will be like, oh, you want to see this character, da da da, but you're stuck with me. And like they know that, but like I would say to be that self-aware, you need to have better writing. And the writing was just it was just bad. And so yeah, I think that's the problem. It just didn't like fully come together what they were trying to come across with the finale. But I like the show overall. I really like Jennifer Walters as a character. The CGI was ass, but the actor, she was really good as her, and yeah, she's a fun character. I would want to see more with better writing and stuff. And so it getting a season 2 and getting a second chance to be better, I'm not really fussed at. And with Moon Knight, I think it started off fucking phenomenal. That first episode, man, I love that. Moon Knight, he's quickly become one of my favorite Marvel characters. As I got in recently in the last like couple years, as I started to actually read comics, I would just loosely keep up with them before. If there's like a cool storyline I just knew about or heard about, like the Death of Wolverine or Secret Wars 2 or fucking Batman Metal, if there was something cool, I would like just go on YouTube and learn about it. But now that I'm actually starting to read them, and Moon Knight, he was just a character that I've seen always in the cartoons I watch, not always, but he was like an Ultimate Spider-Man, the cartoon, and then he was in Spider-Man Web of Shadows. I've just always seen him, but he doesn't have like a lot of appearances in outside of comics, and his appearances outside of comics really don't do him any justice, like at all. So he was just always a character that I've always wanted to get into, and so he was one of the first characters I started to really like. I pretty much, except his older stuff, which I am gonna get into because I'm gonna make a video about MCU Moon Knight, how disappointing it was. But pretty much all his like modern stuff, like I'd say was like 2000 and up, I've read. He doesn't have like a bunch of stuff, and that's why he was like a good character to start with, because he's not super connected to the Marvel universe. Like he obviously crossovers and stuff, but he's most of his stories are very standalone, and so they're easy to get into. Like you get into some of these characters, like I'm reading Wolverine right now, and like I end up fucking reading 3-4 different comics just to get the whole like narrative and everything, because I'm a lore person. I really want to know why, like how did this character end up here in this point of their life in the story? So I was like, damn, you just with comics you just spiral. And but he was one of the characters that was a good introduction. But Moon Knight season 1, it just started off super well, and this and so Moon Knight, he's at his like his stories work the best. Not even the best because there's his current run is really good, but starting out, he works the best when you don't know like is what I'm seeing, is what he's seeing real, and what are we seeing, is what we are seeing, is it real or is it just in his head? And it's just like it really just like plays with that psychological aspect a lot more. And the first episode really did that, but they kind of just dropped it like immediately, and it just they lean. I think because Moon Knight is definitely he's the mystic like magic element, but feel like starting, um, it's better to play with that to see if it's really real and just lean into the street level aspect. And as you go along, you reveal like, oh shit, Khonshu or what is it? Yeah, Khonshu's he's real. Oh, this Council of God is real. Moon Knight, oh, he actually cannot die. Oh, damn. Like, and you start revealing these more supernatural things as you go along. And I felt like they really just showed their hand way too quickly, way too soon. But just seeing that first episode, I think there is potential in the Moon Knight series, and I like I said, I really like that character. So getting it to season 2 and giving another chance like She-Hulk to be better, I'm for it. But if it's ass, both these are ass 2 times in a again, She-Hulk wasn't ass, but so if She-Hulk season 2 is ass, I'll give that more of a chance. But if season 2 of Moon Knight's ass, it's Moon Knight, so I'm gonna probably check it out. But I'm not gonna be week to week with it. So or if at all, if it's really that trash. So Sam Raimi is rumored to be the top choice for Avengers Kang Dynasty, Avengers Secret Wars. Source: I made it the fuck up. Just kidding, no. I didn't have a source when I wrote this down, but I think I saw it again because I saw this in passing and I didn't send it and I didn't put it in my show notes or whatever. But then when I was looking for news before I started, I saw it again. I think this is from Daniel RPK. This is great. Not okay. So Multiverse and Madness was the writing was pretty bad. Like the overall like writing of it, I think it was kind of bad. But so Sam Raimi did the original Spider-Man movies 1, 2, 3. I think that, and what's funny about this is I was just watching a Spider-Man 3 clip, which is the worst movie of the three, and it was like Peter. It was when he first goes to the bell tower or something, and he's like, it starts off as a shot like he's Peter, and then like the camera pans to a bell tower and like zooms in, and then and then you see Spider-Man like sitting on it, just on his emo boy vibes, and it just has so much flair and personality. And regardless of the quality of the movie, Sam Raimi's directing personality and flair shines through. And it did the same with Multiverse of Madness. With the script was kind of bad, but you still get that Sam Raimi flair. But I still think it feels like a Marvel movie, and that's kind of for the worst. Like it just has that general Marvel feeling, and I don't know what it is. Is it the cameras they use to shoot? Is it the color grading or what? I don't know why. Like, does that make sense though? Like a Snyderverse DC movie feels like the visual distinctness is different from a Marvel movie. You know what I mean? And then every Marvel movie has that same visual distinctness, which and that's why I was kind of saying with the DC like tone thing, that visual distinctness. I hope that it is like just switched up. And anyways, but back to this, him directing these movies. If they get like a good script on these, and we just see that Sam Raimi flair in fucking Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, where all these multiversal characters are crossing over, that could be fucking amazing, bro. And then you get rumors of Wolverine and Hugh Jackman Wolverine and Tobey Maguire leading Kang Dynasty or Secret Wars, whatever, which one of the two. So Sam Raimi back working with Tobey Maguire being in a lead role, like that could be fucking great. So him being eyed to direct these movies, I hope that comes through, or they get someone else with a very strong artistic vision. This is pretty interesting. This piece of news is pretty interesting. So Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio will reprise their roles together for a new Karate Kid movie in theaters on December 13th, 2024. So there's so Jaden Smith has I didn't watch the old Karate Kid movies, but my dad, he's like a really big fan. But when the Jaden Smith one came out with Jackie Chan, and so this Ralph Macchio guy, he's in the old Karate Kid movies. He played like the original Karate Kid, and then Jaden Smith played the reboot version of the Karate Kid, and Jackie Chan was his Mr. Miyagi, Mr. Han. So then now they're making a movie, so both of them are canon. The Jackie Chan one was like meant to be a reboot, I think. So, but basically, both these are canon. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they merge these two universes together, and if is Jaden Smith gonna come back as the Karate Kid too, or what? I mean, and I really like that movie. A lot of people don't like it, but I like it a lot. And Jaden Smith, um, I don't know what he's been up to, but him coming back as a Karate Kid, I'm not opposed to it. And then also you have this new Cobra Kai series that's been going on, and that's people really like that a lot on Netflix. But the guy from who played Blue Beetle, I do not know how to pronounce his name, but he played Jaime and he played Blue Beetle. He's in the Karate Kid or Cobra Kai series, and Ralph Macchio, he is in the Cobra Kai series, and the Cobra Kai series is a continuation of the original Karate Kid. So are they gonna try to link it to that as well? Because Blue Beetle didn't do that great, but he's an up and coming movie star, and I think getting him, the Blue Beetle guy, involved would be smart as well. He's a really good actor too, and just I'm just really just interested how they're gonna merge these universes together. I really like I said, the Jaden Smith Karate Kid. That is a childhood banger to me. That's on repeat. Just I want to go home. I hate it here. Just all that. I really like that movie a lot. Like if you could say it like 5 times. But anyways, but I'm just really interested to hear the developments on this as it goes along. And they put out an announcement that they put out an announcement that they're looking for a Karate Kid. So they put out like a world searching announcement for the next Karate Kid. So they're having like auditions and everything. So maybe Jaden Smith won't come back. It'd just be cool if you see him like as a, I don't know if that was really his groove. To be like a teacher or some shit. I don't know. I was talking about the character, not like Jaden Smith himself, but the character that he played. I don't know if he really was into trying to be a karate instructor or some shit. So maybe not. So I really like this piece of news. The Simpsons movie 2 is rumored to be in the works. So this is from the Insider. And he said so someone named Eli McKay, I guess they were one of the main people who worked on the script or something, the screenplay for the first Simpson movie. I guess he's developing a movie for who's releasing this, for whoever's in charge of this fudge, the Simpsons like movie and stuff. Oh, is that like Fox? So I guess like Disney or something. But he's making another movie for them, and it's like speculated that they're greenlighting his movie so that he can make another Simpsons movie, kind of like scratch our back, I'll scratch yours, or yeah, you scratch our back, I'll scratch yours, or whatever. Yeah, I just really love this. The first Simpson movies, bro. I think that came out in like 2008. You have that. I forgot how that song went, but the Spider Pig song where he's holding up the pig to the roof. I just love that movie in general. It's just a super fun movie. Like the whole sinkhole, the dome. Oh my god, I'm like literally reliving, like having flashbacks. I haven't thought about this movie in a long time. I'm like literally just having flashbacks of that movie. I like it a lot. That's due for a rewatch, honestly. If I like it enough, I'm honestly I might make a video on it to be keep it a buck with you. But yeah, a second Simpsons movie. If it's on that same quality as the first one, I'm all in it. I have some other Simpsons news in the gaming section that I want to get into. So, that's not unrelated, but that was kind of out of nowhere. But I'm just really interested to see how this develops and goes along. Like I said, I'm really a big fan of the first one. So, hey. So, a live action Naruto movie is in the works. So I think so. The writer. So I guess this isn't new. I thought this was a new development, but I guess this has been in the works for a while. So this comes from like the writer on it, Tasha Ho. She talks about like how she's like about to start writing for the movie or something, but Yeah, are we? So this is a movie and not a series. Like the One Piece series seems to be getting a lot of good praise, which is good. Um, whatever. I'm not gonna get into One Piece. It's fine. I like it. I'm on episode like one something, so it's still super early on. I think I talked about this last week with the Yu Yu Hakusho trailer. Just translating to live action anime to live action just doesn't really translate well to me most times. I won't go into the same reasons I went to last week, but it just doesn't really translate well to me. And so this is a movie though, not a series, so it could have a way bigger budget. But are we gonna get another Dragon Ball Evolution movie? And what's crazy, that movie sucks. No ifs, ands, or buts. That movie sucks. But I loved that movie when I was younger. I just and I knew it was bad when I was younger too, but it was just fun. Just Goku just Goku out of high school party like fighting these bullies and he's like sliding across a car on his head. I'm sorry, bro. That shit is just hilarious. I'm just thinking about Piccolo and shit and how great Ape looked and everything. Ozar. Bro, that movie is something. But are we gonna get another? Bro, I'm sorry. I'm just like thinking about like all the ads like with Chi Chi and Goku like for using the force push on the lockers and shit. All right, bro. All right, let me reset. Let me reset. All right. But are we gonna get another Dragon Ball Evolution debacle with Naruto? I think I'm trying to think about this. I feel like Naruto would be a little bit easier to pull off power wise and everything. I think it's and not even I think it's way more scaled down than Dragon Ball. Goddamn, I'm like trying to stop smiling. It's a lot more scaled down. I think the thing with Naruto though, I think you just really would need to get the sets and the costumes down. Um, yeah, I think that would just be the main thing because, like I said, the powers, if there's a relatively good budget, the powers could be made to look well easier. I know you got like the big Jinchuriki and stuff, but it also depends where this is. Is this? I would assume that it's Naruto Part One, so maybe you don't. And there are you do get bigger like um mounts and shit, like get Orochimaru's like big snake and Jiraiya's frogs and Tsunade slug and shit. So I guess there is bigger animals. So I was gonna say like the nine-tailed fox is not really. No, it's shown in the first part. But hey, I guess they're gonna need to get their CGI in a row fuck, I don't know. I'm sorry. Anyways, I think the biggest thing though is costumes and sets for this because I think the powers and stuff is gonna be a little bit easier to make convincing. But yeah. So hopefully it's not another Dragon Ball Evolution situation. I'm gonna keep an eye on this for sure because it's a movie, not a show. So this could be. I think Naruto's story could be adapted well in live action, for the most part. I think, yeah, yeah. I think they could make some get jiggy with that one, maybe. But anyways, yeah. So on to some gaming news. I was talking about how had some Simpson news in the gaming section. So multiple sequel games were in the works for Simpsons Hit and Run, but were scrapped. This is devastating news, brother. I literally, not literally, but a couple months ago, I got Simpsons Hit and Run on the PS2. Not for the first time. This is a childhood banger. So this is like, if you don't know what Simpsons Hit and Run is, it was on the PS2, might have been on the OG Xbox. I was a PS2 guy, so I don't know. But it was basically like Crazy Taxi, but with Simpsons. It was really fun. It was free open world. You would just pick up different characters in the Simpsons, and they needed to get where they needed to go. And you were timed, and you had to go through different obstacles and whatnot. It was super fun game, and like different characters had different cars. Like Lisa had like this, I think this spaceship type car, and Homer has the standard pink like Cadillac car they have, and different. It was just really fun, and it was unique game, but there was never a sequel. And for so not for like this hasn't been. I mean, it's definitely has crossed my mind a couple times, but I haven't been laying up at night staring at my ceiling. Why hasn't there been a Simpsons Hit and Run sequel? Like I wasn't like stressing over it, but it's like, damn, why didn't they ever do that? But I guess even the developers were as confused as everyone else and why it never got a sequel. So I guess it was greenlit to have multiple sequels with and at a relatively low cost, and everyone around was pretty jazzed about it, and they wrote the stories of the games as in it was going to be a franchise. Like it was pretty like they were set like, okay, like this is going to happen. The first game did pretty good, and it was like they're ready to make more, and they just kind of just fizzled out, and they were just not really sure why. And just like he goes in to say, like one of the creators, he's like, just the possibility of not getting a second game was unthinkable. Like it was that like surefire. So it says failing to obtain a license for the video game rights to The Simpsons is one of the primary factors in the sequel's game's downfall. And then they like go to say it was sad because like between making the first game and getting ready to make the second one, there was no momentum loss. Like they immediately just started to work on the sequel. So this is, I don't know, it was just like still confusing, but it's just like, damn, it just sucks to hear that like they were really geared up to make more sequels to Simpsons Hit and Run, and that could have been a really big franchise. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. But yeah, that was just a childhood staple, and to hear some news come out about that is good, but then also the news it wasn't that good. But here is some great news, possibly great news, but I said last week that Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake was reportedly dead in the water. Well, this week, fellas and fellettes, I'm glad to report that that may not be the case necessarily. So this comes from Jason Schreier. I think he's just like a journalist or something, but he said at least two people are still working on Knights of the Old Republic. So he says, so I'll read his tweet. He says, can't say whether the Knights of the Old Republic remake will ever actually come out, but yes, two people from Saber Interactive tell me they're still on it, despite the recent rumors that nobody is working on the game. Saber took the project from Asper last year, as Bloomberg reported then. So hey, we got a whopping two people working on this massive game. Yeah, but in seriousness, I mean, it's not the greatest sign, but at least it shows that it's not completely abandoned. So maybe they don't have enough resources to allocate to this game right now, but at least trying to move it forward. I don't know how much. I don't know the process of it making a big budget game, especially like a remake and stuff, updating mechanics. So I don't know the manpower that goes into that and whether two people can even make a dent in the workload. But at the very least, it shows that it's not completely abandoned. And honestly, this doesn't really reassure me that the game is coming out, but hey, it's something at least. Then the last bit of news before I get into Invincible Season 2 is that Tony Todd, the voice of Venom, and he's an iconic voice actor. He also played Candyman and a lot of different things, but he played Venom in Spider-Man 2, PS5. And he has confirmed that he recorded lines for scrapped scenes when Miles Morales had the symbiote in the game. So that would have been fucking insane. Miles Morales getting the symbiote, and also he said that they only used 10% of his lines that he recorded. 10% of out of the lines. I know for games like they record a lot of lines, but 10% seems pretty like abysmally low. And people were saying that it could be, stuff that they plan to use for the maybe Venom spinoff game or DLC, but then also people were saying that it could. So I think I was talking about last week. Not even I think when I was reviewing Spider-Man feels like very rushed. The narrative feels rushed. The mechanics that are missing from the previous games, that feels rushed. It just feels like a rushed package. And of course, I enjoyed what I played. Like I love Spider-Man. I love video games. I love the scale of it. But it just felt really rushed overall. So people were saying like maybe that is a big thing because all the Venom stuff and the symbiote, all that felt super. It developed way too quickly, to me, in my opinion. Like it just escalated way too quickly. So maybe they plan to make those sections way, way longer earlier in the development, and they just cut it back by a lot. So I don't know. That kind of you just don't really know if that's for DLC or whatnot, or if they just didn't need to use that many lines. But to me, that kind of, in my perspective, it could mean anything, but that kind of feeds into the narrative of the game feeling rushed. So I don't know. That's kind of that would have been really cool to see Miles with the symbiote. To be honest with you. So now we are on to the main topic of the week. People, Invincible Season 2. They are boxing. They're bloody. Uh they're I don't know where that setup was going. But yeah, Invincible Season 2. They're throwing hands. They're just as bloody as Season 1. We'll get into that. But yeah, I haven't talked about it really. I think I've definitely talked about Invincible. I haven't really like dove in deep into Invincible. So before I get into, because it's Season 2 of a show, I don't really believe in tiptoeing over spoilers with Season 2. Like, yeah, with Season 1 of something, cool. Or if I'm just talking about like the first episodes of Season 2, then I'm gonna avoid spoilers or whatever. But I'm not avoiding spoilers. But before I get into spoilers, and all this will be time coded, so you can look at the time code, skip to wherever part you need to. Let me just give my general thoughts on Invincible. I really like Invincible, to be honest with you. I think I like how I just paused after that with nothing else to say. I just think it's really is cliche, but I think it's like overall just refreshing of the genre and just the things it does with the characters and just the story and just the way I'm just so locked into the overarching like narrative. I'll get into this as we get into spoilers with Season 2, but I just love the way everything develops in Invincible, and give or take, some stuff is more interesting than others, but overall I just think it's a really phenomenal show, animated or not. It just has really cool, really strong writing and everything, and the characters development and all that is so. I was gonna say subpar. I think that means like bad, obviously, but it's so sublime. No, it's just so high quality. But yeah, so if you haven't seen Invincible by now and you like superhero genre, go check it out. I would say you would have to kind of be into the superhero genre because there are some like cliche or moments that could lose some people who are not into the superhero stuff. So, but it's great. The animation is good. Some moments shine more than others, but I think overall it's good. Yeah, like I said, story's great, all that. But let's get into Season 2. So now, full spoilers for Invincible Season 1 and so forth. No comic spoilers because I'm not caught up. I haven't read the comics yet, so no comic spoilers, so don't worry about that. Just talking about the show. But yeah, let's get into it. So, man, let me actually before we really get into it, let me pull up the episodes just so I can have them up and like go through them a little bit. But just I really like how. Damn, that was loud. Let me in my PlayStation. Let me mute my TV first. Hold on. Okay, I really like how this season did it start. Just how this started. The first episode, the first episode you get evil Mark Grayson and shit. Starting off with that is great, and then I just like how after that you just get straight into the aftermath of the ending of the first season. Not necessarily the aftermath, but just the pieces of it, and just Mark dealing with that and struggling to not even just him fucking his father beat him half to death and destroyed Chicago. Like just him sitting with that. I really like that. And I would say in the season how we were playing with the like will Mark Grayson, will Invincible turn evil? And I just like how it's really setting that up, and how this character Levi Armstrong, I think his name, Levi Armstrong, how he sees that in all the multiverses, where most multiverses Mark turns bad. And just I really liked how he was set up as a character already when he first came, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna be like the big bag for the season, besides like the Viltrumites. But just how he wasn't evil at all, and the way he became evil was great. Like he literally in efforts to gain knowledge and stuff. And I don't remember if this Armstrong, like the one that turns like gets all that gets fucked up and gets the power, like all the powers and all the knowledge. I don't know if his like original goal was to stop Invincible or whatnot, but he blows up the machine that is giving him all the knowledge of all his multiversal selves. He blows that up because Invincible's about to die to the Mauler brothers who were helping him make that machine. And they're about to kill him, and he's telling them to stop, and they won't stop. So he just takes it off and he blows up everything, and that's how he ends up fucked up. And now I think that's super good motivations, and it sets him up so well. Like he wasn't this already just this one dimensional evil character. He wanted to gain knowledge and stuff, but it just the way it just fucked up, and the way it fucked up, it was because he was trying to do something morally good. Like I like that a lot. And then now he has all the memories from his other selves are bleeding into this one mind, and so now he has just memories of Mark Grayson and Invincible going evil, and so now he's just like, I gotta stop this because he's just so fucked up. And so I don't know if we don't really we see him in the first couple episodes, and then it comes more about it's more hops on the Viltrumite subplot or main plot kind of. So this we haven't really didn't see this develop all the way because it's the mid-season break, and I'll get into what I think about the mid-season break. But just I love his development so far as a character. I'm so excited to I said that hella aggressively. I'm really excited to see more of Armstrong Levy. So yeah. But also, and I just like I said, so I love how like the season starts off with just Mark dealing with that, and then just the montage and the music playing of him flying through the city, and how he's just desperate to help people, and like he's just kind of going through the motions trying to make up for what happened in Chicago and the part he played in that. And obviously it's not Mark's fault, but like what do you can't really tell him that like it was his dad. Like his dad was throwing him through the city, so it is kind of, he has a very big part in that. I'm just going through the first episode right now because I know what my next point is gonna be. Before I get into what Cecil and shit, I really like how so Robert Kirkman, the creator of Invincible, he said, and so apparently Debbie's role wasn't nearly this extensive in the comics, but he said something with adapting the show, and he's obviously with the foresight of making the comics, something he's able to highlight and play with a lot more is how Debbie, Mark's mom, aka Omni-Man's wife, the one who fucking destroyed the planet and disguised himself as a hero for 20 years and had Mark and joined their version of the Justice League and shit, and basically lied for her for 20 years, and her life was a lie. But and how she feels about that and Omni-Man's switch up, and this season just does a really good job dealing with that. Just how broken she is from that, and how Mark and her are dealing with them and dealing with this stuff in different ways. You have Mark trying to be more of a hero and throw himself into his work, and then you have Debbie really just breaking down and trying to find support groups. And I really love all that with how she found like this secret support group for the people on like their version of the Justice League, the Guardians of the Globe, and how because Omni-Man. So I didn't even like really set up Invincible story. Their character Omni-Man, this is for the people who don't care about spoilers, but if you know about Invincible, you know this already. But Omni-Man, he's like their Superman of their universe or of the Earth, and he has a son, Mark Grayson. He gets his powers and becomes a superhero. And so Omni-Man's like on Earth for like 20 years, starts a family and shit, and then he turns out to be an alien called a Viltrumite, and their whole thing is conquering planets and shit, and he's basically softening up Earth's defenses to be ready to be conquered by all his people. But shit develops in the story where, he develops a conscience, and his son, humanity and whatnot, and so he ends up not doing that, and he causes some destruction, beats Mark's ass nearly to death, and ends up not doing what he came here there to do, and flies away. That's how season 1 basically ended, more or less. You got your meat and potatoes in between and whatnot. But so you just get how. So she goes to the support group where Omni-Man is from so you have like on the team, you have like Flash and like a Wonder Woman character, a Darkwing, like a Batman character. And so the people that Omni Man killed, they have a support group, right? And basically so she finds that, and the she gets close to one of the members, but they don't know that her husband's was Omni-Man, the man who killed all their significant others. And so she gets close with this character, and once he finds that out and really connecting, it feels like Debbie found her place. People she could really connect with. He tells her, he finds that out and tells her, never, like, yeah, don't come back. I do not fuck with you. We will not fuck with you. Get the fuck out. Like, bitch, do not come back in this establishment. And so she was like, damn. So she shut off from like the one thing that was, seemed to be working from her. And there's just like this very good parallel scene, I think, between all three of them. So Mark, the son, Debbie, the mom, and then Omni-Man, the father, where Mark is just flying, just like kind of, I don't know, aimlessly, but there's just this sequence where he's just flying, and then like there's a sequence where he's just flying and he's thinking, and there's a sequence where Omni-Man, he's just flying through space and he's thinking about what he did on Earth and beating his son to fucking death, almost to death. And then Debbie gets a scene like that where she's just walking through the city barefoot, fucked up with all these decisions where she's thinking. I just love all the parallels between those three and like how they're all going through it in different ways. And obviously this is fucking Omni-Man's fault, but how they're all just kind of like blaming themselves and whatnot. I just really love that a lot in the season. So the thing with Invincible, I think I have the same problem with the first season with this one. The main narrative, the overarching narrative, I'll get into. Let me get into that first. I love how expansive this story is and how it's slowly revealing itself. How you start off with, and the first season was kind of like grander scale too. You get like animals, aliens coming from different like fucking through portals and shit, different dimensions and whatnot. So it's always been grander scale, but then in this season it's like slowly revealed, like you got this galactic council that's been fighting the Viltrumites for a while now, and then just slowly this universe is expanding, but it's doing it in a way that feels organic. It feels like this stuff was always there. It's not like this stuff just feels like, oh poof, it's quote unquote been there, but like things started just developing as we got introduced to it. And so when stuff like is like that, it kind of like takes away from the organicness, and if it feel like in like a already established universe, it kind of feels like stuff is paused when you're not looking at it, and like when you look at it, that's when it resumes. But I just really like universes that feel organic and feel already lived in, and they're doing a really good job at expanding all that. But what I was saying though, I had the same kind of like problem with the first season. I'm locked in with the overarching plot of the Viltrumites taking over and everything, and like the Galactic Council and stuff like that. I'm locked in with that, and then also with this introduction of Armstrong Levy in the multiverse and everything. Locked in. I'm very interested in that. But with like the first season, there's just subplots that are kind of a little less interesting. I wouldn't even say completely uninteresting. It's just with the insane shit that's happening in the story, it's just, like I said, less interesting. And so, you kind of get that this season too. Like there's stuff with like the Guardians of the Globe that is interesting. It's interesting, but it's just like, bro, I'm trying to see the overarching narrative develop. And so, there's this, a couple of subplots in the season that are, you get this stuff with Bulletproof and stuff, and I'm excited to see more about his character and his team, and like you get Immortal leading the Guardians of the Globe and all that. Like I do want to see that, but it just sometimes takes away from the narrative for me, and not in a way, because it does feed in. So let me not say it takes away from the narrative. It's just there's a lot more interesting things going on, and like you got like this subplot with the secret like Serpent Society and stuff, and then you have this stuff, which I think this is one of the more interesting ones, a subplot with Adam Eve and like how she's trying to help out and not necessarily be a hero, but it's trying to help the world. I really like her arc and everything. You have like Mark going on like little missions to underwater places. Oh, that's what something I forgot to mention. I love how, so the whole thing is like Mark not trying to be his dad and turn into this world conquering alien. But there's this instance in the story where Darkwing's sidekick, one of like the members on the Justice League team, where that Omni Man murdered. So he murdered one of the heroes, and he had a sidekick. And so I think he like I forgot how him and Invincible end up clashing, but they end up clashing, and he takes him into he takes Invincible to like this dimension. And he's like, yeah, you're not getting out of here. It's a dark dimension. And then like Mark turns on his Omni Man side and is like, he was like, what? He's like, the guy's like, what are you gonna kill me, like Omni Man or something? He's like, maybe. You don't know what I'm capable of. Like he just has this like super nonchalant vibe, and it's like the same kind of vibe that we saw the evil Invincible have in the first episode. So it's just like, whoa, Mark, you're kind of tapping into this darker side. Don't want to end up like Anakin, my boy. Chill out. And so that's like super cool to see. He's just like that. I know that this Mark is not gonna go evil. At least that's what I think. But it's just cool to see that played with and everything. Yeah. So like with the subplots, they're all for the most part interesting. It's just like, it's not as interesting as the main thing going on. I want to get into episode 3 because I liked episode 3 a lot. I really like how this episode was structured. So this episode, there's a character called Alan the Alien, and he plays like, if you know, he is part of the council that like the Galactic Council was talking about, that is band together to fight the Viltrumites and stuff. And he like get introduced in the first season. He's played by Seth Rogen, so he's like a kind of comedic character, but he's like kind of I don't know power wise, but he's kind of has the same power wise as Invincible. Like he could fly, has super strength, everything. But so episode 3, it's from his perspective, and so he gets like a whole like flying around montage, get his whole like little backstory and everything. Like he was genetically engineered to fight the Viltrumites and stuff, and how his whole planet was like destroyed. And so you get like this whole like kind of generic like making fun of the standard backstory, but you get it all from his perspective. So he gets his own title card sequence and everything as Alan the Alien. Usually just says Invincible, but I really like how this whole episode was just really from his perspective, and you really get to know this character, and you get to know more about the wider universe, Invincible universe. But then it just ends with this man getting fucking murdered. Like he just literally he's on a date with the girl, and then 3 Viltrumites come up, and they're trying to get information on Mark he's trying to get information on Omni-Man or Mark because Omni-Man left his position. Like he was supposed to take over Earth, and he just left. So they're trying to get answers from him, on that. So they just fucking 3v1 jump him. Then fucking, it's so brutal, and it's it's great, but I'm saying it's great, but it's not great. But it's just so great because the way that this episode just built him up, and we're just like, okay, it was just a nice, fun episode with Alan, and then you fucking get this man, his guts literally get punched out his body, he has one eye, his eyeball gets punched out of his socket, he gets his arm ripped off, and so he's like literally fucked, bro. And I'm like, whoa, they killed Alan, but apparently this man survived that, and they had this man like on life support or some shit. And then you get this fucking snake ass nigga. He comes in, he murders Alan, but I don't know if he's dead actually. But he comes in, he turns off Alan's life support. And this guy, he's played by Peter Cullen, I think his name. He's the voice of Optimus Prime in the Bay movies. And so as soon as I heard this guy's voice, I was like, Leonardo DiCaprio moment, pointing at my TV. I also had another moment. I'll get like, it's in season 4, but I'll get to that. But I just really like that structure of episode 3. That was great. And then the little subplot, because I'm just like skipping through the episode, and I see Duplicate and what the fuck is it, Rexplode. The little subplot with her and what's it called, Immortal, like that's fine. I really like the development with Monster Girl and Robot and their little relationship together, how she's kind of making them be more human and stuff like that. I think that's really cool. Again, stuff that I find interesting. It's not the main plot, And so it could drag for some people, but overall I like these subplots and the characters that are involved with them. So it's like not too bad. And like you have the Monster Girl and Robot, going out into a movie and stuff. But Monster Girl, there was I think I talked about one of the articles with Robert Kirkman, but they did an Adam Eve special. I think that's a comic though. where it just showed her origins and her backstory. And she's super. It was really good. It was like an hour plus, and it was just before season 2 came out. It was really, like I said, it was super good. I would really want something like that with Monster Girl. So she's like Hulk, but she's like a little girl. Well, she's not. She's a grown woman, but every time she turns into like her Hulk form, she gets a little younger. And so right now she like looks like a little girl. She's been doing it for a while. So I just want to know. So it's like more magic based and not like science and shit like the Hulk. So I just want to know how that came about, like her origins, and everything. I don't know if like the show maybe probably explore it and stuff, but if not, I want to like a Monster Girl like want a special. And then you get like so Mark going to college and stuff like that's fine. Oh yeah, let's talk about his relationship with Amber. That was like a huge fucking stink. People threw a huge stink with Amber in the first season. Like she was, what she was doing was definitely like unreasonable, but like it's like come on bro, we've been through this. When a character doesn't know a character's when a love interest doesn't know a character's identity and they end up the lying shit and like come on bro, this is standard tropey shit. You don't need to put your fucking get your panties in a bunch over this shit. But I really like the relationship in this season. She's a lot more understanding in what she's like dealing with Mark and how he's a superhero and constantly have to leave and shit. But I think eventually that's gonna take a toll on her and she's not gonna be 100% gravy with it, but which is understandable. Like, what the heck? He's always leaving. He's like the last time he left, literally in this season, like he's been gone for like weeks and shit. So it's like, like no one wants to deal with that. But episode 3 ends with, actually before I get to episode 4, which is like the big thing, you have, Cecil's relationship with Mark, and like I feel like, so I won't spoil, but I seen like a comic cover where some shit, but Cecil, he's just, I don't know, his relationship with Mark, he just has underlying agendas, and so he's really there for control, and he just, I don't know, he just rubs in the wrong way. I just can't put my finger on it. Like he's a conniving bastard, which granted he is immortal dealing with these, I didn't say immortal, immortal. If I don't know if that came through properly, but he's a human dealing with these superhero beings and shit, and like trying to protect Earth. Like you got to be kind of conniving bastard sometimes. So that's great. I'm just curious to see where the relationship goes. But anyways, episode 3 ends with an alien coming to Mark and basically saying, "Oh, I need your help. Da da da. Our planet's in danger. Let me take you to our planet." And so he's like, Mark's like, whatever, right? But I'll come help you to your planet. I'll come to your planet to help you. And it ends up his fucking dad, who he hasn't seen for a while. After he hasn't seen him since he beat him half to death and left Earth. So and he ends up being the one that is on that planet and told the alien to get him there. And so he's just like, episode 3 just ends with a crazy like cliffhanger. And so episode 4 that's where we got some more development on the Viltrumites. I mean, I guess we've been kind of getting it the whole time with episode 3 and the council and shit. But so episode 4, brother, Omni-Man tricks Mark into going to that planet, right? And this is where, so I was talking about how like Debbie and Mark and Omni-Man all got these parallels with like them reminiscing on their actions. This episode starts off with like, I wouldn't say start off. I think, yeah, it does start off where, it's Omni-Man. He's looking at his hands, like his fucking bloodied hands after he beat his son to almost to death. His son's over here missing teeth and broken nose and shit. But he's like, and he flies off and it shows where he went when he flew off. And there was a really cool moment in the first season where when he has Mark's blood all over his like suit and stuff, but he's going so fast out the atmosphere where all the blood and stuff burns off his suit, and that was really cool. And like how he's dropping tears as he's flying and stuff. But anyways, he just like journeys through space, and he's just thinking about what he did, and like I don't know how, if it was said in the first season, so I don't know how old Omni-Man is, but Viltrumites apparently they get stronger as they age, so like they're immortal. And so as they get older, they get stronger. And so I don't know how old Omni-Man is, but he's just so fucked up. And I don't know how many times he's done this so far, like conquered planets and whatnot. And so but humanity just got him in his feels. And so he's just reminiscing like, damn, I couldn't do my job. It's just a really good moment. And there's a super good shot where he's standing in front of floating in front of a black hole. and he's just like, he has this long beard and shit from like just flying through space for I don't know, a long time, and he's just letting himself get sucked into the black hole, and it's just a really cool shot. And then like the aliens that trick Mark and go into this planet, um, he sees it, their ship's about to go into the black hole, and he saves them, and he ends up, they want him to be their emperor. Cool. And so this episode 4, so this is the episode before the mid-season break, and I'll get into that break and stuff after I talk about this episode. This is probably the last thing I will talk about. I'll talk about the animation and the voice acting, but I'll be quick. But so this episode was great. It was, so we really haven't seen Omni-Man all season, and so just seeing him and just involved in the story was so great, and just played by J.K. Simmons. And I just love Mark's I love his reaction to seeing his dad, and then like he eventually, like, his dad has another family on this planet with these bug people, and he has this purple baby, and it's Mark's brother, and just how Mark deals with this, like, okay, you're just replacing my mom, and just, you literally said my mom was a pet, and you're replacing her. And it's just Mark's reaction to all that was very, felt very real, and just how he would come off as like some moments like really wanting to like reconnect with his dad and like just give him a hug, and like you would just switch that rage, which was rightfully so. And it was great voice acting from Steven Yeun, and I guess I'll get to voice acting now. All the voice actors in this show are great. Steven Yeun just does so well with Mark Grayson, and just the subtleties, and so does J.K. Simmons with Omni-Man. But basically, Omni-Man called him to the planet because he's been reflecting on his actions and stuff. But then also the Viltrumites that sent Omni-Man to go conquer Earth, they're going to know that he left his post and didn't do his job. So he called Mark to say, like, I need your help defending this planet to protect your now half alien brother, and now, you just protect the planet. And so Mark says this, he really says this great thing where he's like, this is how you should have felt about Earth. And like Omni-Man takes a second, he's like, damn, this motherfucker's right. And then this episode 4, you get that parallel with like Debbie walking and stuff, and she's about to like jump off a bridge or something. It's just like seeing this stuff from Debbie's perspective is just so great, and I'm glad that like this is what makes, I think, this adaptation. And once this show wraps up, I'm gonna go back and read the comic, but which just makes this adaptation so great. It's just being so faithful to the comics, but then also having hindsight of the comics already coming out. You can highlight different things that will make the story stronger. And I think Debbie's highlight in this series is really something that's strong, that's being pulled from the comics that wasn't there, really didn't have a presence before. Oh yeah, and then like, you got the subplot with like Donald. He's like figuring out he's like a clone or some shit, and then you got the Mauler brothers and a clone. That's fine. And but yeah, back to this thing with Omni-Man though. So he's asked Mark for his help, and Mark's like, bro, you whooped my ass. Like, I didn't have no a chance against you. How am I gonna go against possibly even stronger Viltrumites? He's like, all right, well, training shit. But then the Viltrumites end up coming sooner. Again, so I think, all right, so because all right, my bad. This is where I'm gonna go into the animation a little bit. So the Viltrumites come, right, and I love this sequence of Mark he's just getting his ass whooped because he doesn't want to kill this Steve Harvey looking Viltrumite, right? And so he's just toying with him and just seeing. So sorry, you just see through the whole series. Obviously, like Invincible gets his ass whooped, but you know his power. Just to see someone just easily throw him around and push his face on the ground with one finger and like crack the ground and shit, like that's like, what the fuck. And so like this Steve Harvey Viltrumite's giving on his ass, and then Omni-Man comes in, fucking cuts his guts open, and just like, it's like, bro, Mark, get your head in the game, brother. But they're, they got to fight the other two Viltrumites that the Steve Harvey variant's gone and shit. But it's just a really great fight, and Mark just like eventually stops holding back and is going for the kill and shit. Well, gets more serious because he hesitates at one point when you can get the kill, and he ends up getting stabbed. But so this portion of the fight is super. So the comic is super detailed, super bloody. The art is great. It looks amazing. So a lot of people, this show, it had a shot from in this show that is directly from the comics. It's like Omni Man and Mark are punching like the two Viltrumites at the same time, and it's like it's a really good shot in the comic. But they're super bloody, and the background is so in the show, there's a bunch of like quick punches. Not like, all right, I'm trying to explain this. Uh, in the comic, it was a lot just more stylized, right? And if you freeze the shot and you compare that to the comic looks obviously 100 times better. Like they're super bloody. Like the stuff in the background's super hard hitting and as well. And yeah, it looks better than the show. But then when it's a fucking show, so it has to be in motion to obviously, and you'll get your money shots. But the whole someone like tweeted like, oh, now because they were comparing the shots, was like I'm scared for the season of Invincible, and they didn't even fucking watch the episode, which was wild that they were saying that. Anyways, it was like a big account and it got like hella retweets and shit, so that's why I was bringing it up. It was like what, but the actual like fight in motion, it does justice to those panels. Like it does justice, and so it's like, why are you comparing this one shot of a show to something that a fight that is supposed to be seen in motion? I'm like, what? That makes no sense. But anyways, this fight was great. It ends with fucking like Omni Man punching a guy's fucking head in and like, from his temples, and so his eyes all bulging out and shit. And then Marks gets stabbed, but then Omni Man gets his get back and fucking like punches the lady's jaw off or some shit. It is super gruesome. But they think they won, and then the Steve Harvey Viltrumite, he comes in like breaks Omni Man's back as a last like ditch, like he should have made sure I was dead, and they all like fall out. And so Omni Man's in there, back broke. Viltrumite still, Steve Harvey's there, bleeding out, and Mark is there, stabbed in his stomach, bleeding out. And then at the end of it, the Viltrumites come, like, reinforcements and shit, and then you get this one Viltrumite. His name's General Krieg, and he's played by Tom Clancy, or not Tom Clancy. Fucking hell. What's his name? My bad. I said Tom Clancy. Isn't that a fucking Clancy Brown? He's been killing it. He was in John Wick earlier this year. He was in Gen V's and this. He was in some notes too. He's just been in everything, and I really like him. He's a great voice actor. But he basically says to Mark, he's like, I'm General Krieg, and your father, we're gonna take him back to our Viltrumite planet, and he's gonna get executed because that motherfucker shouldn't have left his post. But you, Mark, I really like how you balled out today. I really like your hustle. I really like the way you fight. So I'm gonna give you a chance. You're gonna get to go back to Earth, and you're gonna fill your dad's position. You're gonna conquer Earth for us, pal. And if you don't, we're gonna come a knocking, and we're gonna fuck you guys up. So yeah. So basically, he tells Mark that, yeah, you're going back to Earth and you're taking over the planet, buddy. And if you don't, we're coming at you hard. So, yeah, that's where the season ends. And that was like, what the mid-season. And so I think this season was only eight episodes, and it had a mid-season break on the 4 episodes. And so people were up in arms about this on Twitter. And I was kind of up in arms too, because it's like, bro, we were waiting like 3 years for the next season, and then you're gonna have a mid-season break. And granted, people didn't know how long the break was, but apparently it's gonna come back in January, so it's like only like really a month break, a little more than a month, so it's not that bad. But I don't know, there's just a bunch of think pieces coming out where people are just like, oh, you fucking nerds, you asked for better working conditions for animators, and this is what you get, da da da. And it kind of had nothing to do with that. Apparently this was planned to be a mid-season break from the start, and Robert Kirkman, so he's also the creator of Walking Dead. He's like, we had mid-season breaks in Walking Dead all the time, because when he was asked, this was like a production thing or is it just like a narrative thing, he's like, it's kind of a production thing, but he was just like, the way that where episode 4 ends, it just needs it benefit from a break. And then also during the holidays and shit, shows get lost. This is from his words. He says shows get lost in the shuffle, and the ratings, a lot of people are not like paying attention to them because of the holidays and stuff. So They just want to take a break. And so since this break is only like a month and some change, I'm not too fussed about it. But my whole thing is, brother, why not just wait till January and just release all of it? Obviously, you can go week to week still, but still, just like I don't like this, especially since we had to wait 3 years, like 2 to 3 years for the season, and you're taking a break on episode. And there'd be it would be one. It would be one thing if this was like a 20 episode show and we got 10 episodes. Now we're taking a break. This is fucking like 8 episodes, bro. We got 4 episodes. And I think the first two were released at once. I could be mistaken on that, but still, it's like no fucking show that is 8 episodes needs a mid-season break. And obviously, if this was purely for working conditions so people can get shit done, then granted, I'm gonna zip my lips, but I would still sing the same tune as just wait until you're done and then put it all out. But still, it's just like I don't know. 8 episodes, bro. That does not need no fucking mid-season break, in my opinion. I don't make shows, so maybe I could be very wrong. But yeah, so yeah, I got into like the animation. So the animations for the season, it was fine. Not even fine. Yeah, I mean, there's some shoddy shots, I think, but for the most part, it's fine. I think really carries Invincible for me is the story. So the animation's not really a deal breaker, and it's fucking it's fine. I don't really have any complaints with it, but it's not like, oh my god, this is the best fucking animation I've seen. Like they're really animating it out the park on some like anime, like Naruto fight choreography level shit. But it's great, and they get the job done. But they released like a teaser. So before the first trailer, they released like a really well animated teaser that was super high quality. And I seen someone on Twitter say it was like they kind of figured, and I thought this was well. That's what the new season would look like the whole time, and which would have been great. And it was just like I don't know, the animation's fine. I don't know where I was really going with that. I think that's more to like fucking train, like all the blood and stuff, and how it doesn't look as great as the comics, which is I expect the comics to look better, or already because it just really has great art, and I don't think there's really any way to live up to that without spending buku amount of bucks, a lot of money. Which it's Amazon, so they could, but it's just like, hey, that's not the case. So it is what it is. But yeah, so season 2 of Invincible, really liked it a lot. I'll be talking about it again once these last 4 episodes come out, and we'll talk about the finale. But it was just a lot already, and I was really enjoying it. So I just really wanted to talk about it, especially we got this little break coming up, and I just didn't want to wait super long. I want to get my thoughts out. But yeah, so that's season. Or should I rate it? No, it's not really wrapped up, but let's just throw a rating so far out there. This doesn't really matter at all. It's gonna change most likely, but from what we got these 4 episodes, I'm really loving the story so far. Probably like at a 8. Yeah, I was gonna go 8.5, but yeah, I'm like at a 8. What's really holding me back from a 10? Honestly, I don't know. I just really threw an 8 out there, and I could probably think about that. I mean, so the subplots, because I don't say the subplots aren't as hard hitting, but they weren't that hard hitting the first season. When I say hard hitting, I mean like compared to the main plot. But I really like them, so I guess what's keeping, if this was just purely focused on the main plot and not these like kind of sometimes less interesting subplots, then I would definitely be at a 10 with this. I think that's what's really holding me back. But yeah. That's Invincible Season 2 for you. So now we're on to my weekly watch list. We actually got quite a few things this week. I ain't gonna hold you. So this week I just watched The Incredible Hulk. That's the one with Edward Norton and the Abomination and stuff. Why did I watch that movie? I don't know. I think I just cut it on, but I love that movie so much. The Hulk action in that is great. I'm trying to think. I just want to see Hulk fight someone in Hulk size. We haven't really got that in the MCU, have we? Thanos, I mean, that was super brief and he lost. Yeah, I just want to see someone fight Hulk size, and that fight with Abomination is great. I love that fight so much. And then also, I think I mentioned it last week. I was reading Wolverine Origins, and I was saying like, I was really not liking it too much. It was fine, but I was reading Wolverine Origins too, so like this is dealing with Wolverine's like post what point is this in his life? Like he's going after all the people who like were behind Weapon X and shit. And this storyline, I like the art in it a lot, and this like deals with Dakin and shit. And I used to not really like Dakin at all. That's Wolverine's son. He has like two claws, and he has like a third one coming out of his like the middle of his wrist on the bottom part, like where Spider-Man shoots his webs type shit. I used to think that he was just super edgy for no reason, and he has like this mohawk and this dragon tattoo, and just like he has like it's just a ass design, and I just really don't like it too much, to be honest. And this like I think it's like the introduction of Dakin and shit, and I was liking him at first. Like he just has this like he had this like finesse and swiftness and like that Wolverine didn't have, so I really like was liking him. But then he just kind of devolved into this like I don't know, caricature. He just like was just super edgy and stuff. He just lost that like kind of finesse that he had, in his like early on. And I was really liking him at first, and he just kind of fizzled out. But then like this story, like I don't give a fuck. I'm spoiling it. Shit came out in like 2007. There's this guy named Romulus, and he's apparently behind like all of Wolverine's like tragedy and shit, like Weapon X, like literally back to when he was like a boy and shit, like a little boy, and like I don't know, he's like looks like this like Wolverine on steroids, and like he has like this glow. He just is not it was just a character was just like, okay, like damn, this was the guy that was behind all of Wolverine's suffering and shit. I don't know, this kind of like really felt super forced in. So I like the story, and I like some of I like some of the elements in the story. I didn't necessarily like the story, but yeah, it was just cool to see. It just was kind of like going through Wolverine's greatest hits in his life. So it was kind of like cool to see that and like get caught up on kind of his lore. So now I'm just going and reading a bunch of random fucking Wolverine shit and just trying to get I don't know, just really like exploring the character and shit. And now that I got that out of the way, that story like Origins and Origins 2, that was like 2003 and 2010 and shit, 2007, I don't know. But now I'm reading like his old stuff, like where his claws weren't that wasn't part of his mutant ability yet. Like that was something surgically implanted in him. So I'm reading that story. I think it's like Chris Claremont is the writer. I forgot the writers of the origin stuff, but I think Chris Claremont, I think he does some really good X-Men runs and stuff. So as I'm reading, I'm like figuring out who has like the good runs and who are the good writers and shit. And also I kind of watched The Killer. I fell asleep, but I was really liking it. What I saw so far. When I first watched it, I was like, okay, he's like kind of the ass. He's kind of ass. This is the movie made by David Fincher and like David Fassbender, I think. It was on Netflix. It's really good visuals and shit, and the action is really good. It's just I just fell asleep. So I might go back and revisit that. But it has really strong visual style, and the action. He has this really cool fight, and it lasts like I don't know, a couple minutes, and it's just super like intense, and like the effects and like the way that like the rumbling and shit, it's just really well made. And so I want to go back and watch it, just honestly get the context for that, because I just like honestly woke up and they were just fucking tussling. I was like, okay, damn. And then I just kind of fell back to sleep after that. But on the music side of shit, I think her name's Caribou. I think she's one of Lil Yachty's new artists. She just has. This week I was just kind of like in a music drought. I just wanted to listen to new music. Like I was kind of tired of my playlist. I don't know, I'll come back to it, but it was just one of those times where I just didn't want to hear anything in my playlist. So I went out and found try to just find some new artists. This will only last for a couple hours, but I found Caribou. She's one of, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. She's one of Yachty's new artists. She just has like this really like lazy flow to her. This proper flow. I wouldn't say proper, but I don't know. She just like has this lazy like flow to her, and I really like her flow and her cadence and shit. And so that's cool. A good track by her is Running Late and Off the Dome. If you go check out her music, those are two solid tracks. And she doesn't, because I listened to all her tracks, that were on Spotify. She probably has more music somewhere else, but um, it was cool seeing her like sound evolve in the tracks that she released. Her earlier tracks is not really my cup of tea, but you could just see her evolution of her style, and that's pretty cool. So definitely gonna keep an eye out on her, especially if she releases a tape or something. And then I want to, and also I want to know where she's from and shit. Um, but this one guy, I think he's from Detroit. He be rapping with Babytron and shit. J100. He's now this is one of he's like a proper like he has like this proper flow and shit. Like he said he's like wrestling with the money in his undergarments or some shit. Like he just uses he makes I really like his raps because he has a unique flow, and then also he has a unique cadence, and then he makes a lot of anime superhero and shit references and shit like that. He has a song named Oppenheimer, and like one of the first bars, he says, "I got a switch, I got an RPG with a switch. I'm feeling like I'm Oppenheimer." Like just the outlandish shit, like a fucking RPG with a switch, bro. Like what? Um, but he has like this another song. He has a really good duo. He's a really good duo with Babytron. I think they really push each other and they make good raps together. But he has this one song with Chunks, and he's like got henchmen by his house. He's like, I got henchmen by the yard, and sticks strapped to their backs. So they're like chunks and they're standing guard or some shit like that. But like he makes like anime references, and like I just said, Oppenheimer. He has a nice flow, and he makes references that I like a lot. So go check out J100. And then I think a few weeks ago I didn't follow up on this, and I felt kind of bad about it because I really like this artist. Stan Will, part of the Shitty Boys, he dropped a tape called Unstoppable, and I think I said I was gonna go through it to highlight the tracks that I liked, but I never went back and did that. So let me I really like it's only 8 tracks, but honestly I like all of them. But the standouts to me are Super Mario. On Super Mario, he taps into this like flow and that I really enjoy a lot. And I think oh yeah, Baller Fall. It's like has this piano melody in it, and it's just like it's like one of those beats that like really make you like sit and think, and I really like it a lot, to be honest. Yeah, I think that was all for. Oh, and then I watched this week because next week I'll be reviewing Godzilla minus one. But this week I watched the first episode to Godzilla Monarch Legacy or whatever, like the Godzilla spinoff. Um, so I really liked that show. I'll be reviewing it and shit when it all wraps up, but just I guess it's like kind of first impressions. I really like that show, and I think the CGI is great on the monsters and everything of what I've seen so far in the first episode. Um, there's some like shoddy shots here and there. I like the overall plot and like the kind of like the pacing of it, but I think like the dialogue, like scene to scene, is kind of bad. Like it's kind of blocky, and it doesn't really because I thought it's like maybe the performances and maybe that may play a little part into it as well. But I just know that like some of the actors that they have, they're really good actors, and even them delivering the dialogue is kind of clunky. So yeah, it's like the dialogue, but that's kind of what has been in like all these recent American Godzilla movies. Like I'm not really drawn to the human aspects of them, and that's why I really like. I was saying this I think last week too. That's why I really like Shin Godzilla, because the human aspect in that movie is a lot more interesting, a lot more engaging, and then you have the monster stuff that is engaging as well. So it just comes together as a really good movie, and not just like I'm just there for the monster parts. But like I said, like I like the characters in this new Monsters Monarch Legacy, but it's just like the dialogue between them is kind of clunky. But again, that's not really where I'm there for. It would be great if the dialogue and shit was amazing, but like that's not really gonna make or break the show for me personally. With this project, maybe it would have been worse than another show, but I'm kind of there to see Godzilla and shit, so and monsters, whatnot. So it's not like the characters are not necessarily what I'm there for. So yeah, so I'm liking it so far. I still definitely check it out. I think it's really well made. It's really well shot. I like the some of the like cinematography and like the shots that they make and stuff. I on that aspect and everything else, the sound design, everything is cool. All that's great. It's just like the dialogue between characters is just a little clunky. I mean, it's not like terrible, but it's definitely noticeably wooden. But yeah, that's oh, and then also, so back to the what I missed section from when I was talking about earlier. So I was talking about the Spider-Man suits, and I was talking about Craven's involvement. So this is a little bit more spoilery. I'm not gonna say Craven's like his what he does in the story overall, but so if you don't want to know any spoiler details for Spider-Man 2, you can honestly just I have one more section. You could skip to that section or just click off this podcast. But getting into so spoilers for Spider-Man 2, I didn't like how his Craven's involvement in the I feel like his presence wasn't really felt. His army's presence was felt, but I feel like Craven definitely I wish he was more a presence in the story. And then all the cool shit he did was kind of off screen. Like he kind of killed Vulture off screen. I think there was this someone found in the files or some shit. There was like a wall with the heads of like Rhino and some other villains that like Craven killed. And so he's killed a bunch of villains off screen, and like you really don't see him do anything. Like you see him do this shit with Scorpion. He takes a venom hit and he easily kills Scorpion. So that's cool. But I just really wish his presence was felt more in the story. And it is felt in some points, but just overall, like you really feel the presence of his army more than him. And then he kind of just gets shuffled off to the side a little bit as, you know, the symbiote stuff takes a forefront to the story. So I just really wish we saw Craven was a little bit more involved. But I liked what he did in the story though. But on to Pondering My Orb, where I just reset for the week and gear up for Monday and the rest of the week and talk about what I aspire in reflecting on for the week. And hopefully that inspires you to reflect on your actions or be inspired to be better for the week and just constantly strive. But anyways, this week I just want to focus on just, you know, little improvements and just taking it. I think it's been the sentiment, just taking it step by step, but just like compound, like I think it's interest is the word, just stacking up the little pieces though. Stacking up the little pieces and eventually it's going to grow to something bigger. Just creating that snowball effect, whether that's, you know, saving money, whether that's with content, just consistently chipping away at it, consistently saving like, you know, $20-$30 that like maybe I just would have blew and just didn't think anything of it, but saving that 20-30 into, and eventually, you know, that 20-30 is fucking 200 in like, you know, a week or so or some shit, you know, and just really creating a snowball effect. And that's my main thing for this week, but I kind of have to go. So I want to wrap this up. So, you know, snowball effect, that's the thing for this week. But yeah, follow me, as we get into the last part, follow me on, so Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at DS2Smooth. Links will be down, maybe not links, but the shit will be in the my fault. The stuff will be in the description. DS2 Smooth on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and then follow my second channel for like my extended gameplay videos with at DS2 Smooth Extended. And as I say, follow or check out this podcast. But hey, you're checking it out, hopefully. Well, if you're here, listen to this, then yeah. I think that's pretty much it. Hey, go do something else nice this week. I don't know. Go give some money to a homeless person or something, or do something nice for a family member. Who knows? Just do something nice this week and drink water. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this week. I will catch you guys next week for Shin Godzilla and whatever news presents itself. Peace.